friends, I welcome all of you to my new lecture session on lipid metabolism. In lipid metabolism, we will discuss in this session on fatty acid biosynthesis. So in the previous lectures, we had discussed in detail about the absorption, digestion, and then distribution of lipids in our body. And also we had discussed about the fatty acid metabolism, including beta oxidation and the ketone body formation in the last lectures. Okay, so in this lecture session we will discuss about the fatty acid biosynthesis. So let's go ahead and then see what exactly is fatty acid biosynthesis. So in case of fatty acid biosynthesis, so fatty acids is one of the way how our body stores energy. Okay, so storing of energy in our body happens in one way via glycogen, the other way it is fatty acids. Okay, so in the in the metabolism of glucose, glucose will be metabolized to pyruvic acid. Okay, the pyruvic acid will go to acetyl coenzyme A. Okay, so this acetyl coenzyme A has to go to Krebs cycle, but if Krebs cycle is negatively regulated because of excess of ATP, then the acetyl coenzyme A has to go to some other storage site. So in that way, in that case, acetyl coenzyme A will be converted to fatty acid by using fatty acid biosynthesis pathway. Okay, so in that way, acetyl coenzyme A, the producer of energy or the input for Krebs cycle, will be retained in our body. So fatty acids will be converted to triglycerides, and these will be stored in the adipose tissue. Okay, so if we have higher than required quantity of acetyl coenzyme A are there, so which are producing so much of fatty acid, and then adipose tissue is full. So in that type of high energy situation, acetyl coenzyme A will largely be allocated for biosynthesis of cholesterol. Okay, so from cholesterol we cannot get energy. Okay, energy cannot be obtained, and then the cholesterol is the only way how we can get rid of acetyl coenzyme A, because cholesterol will be metabolized to bile salts, so which can be excreted. Okay, excreted. The rate of excretion of bile salts depends on the energy demands and then cholesterol concentration inside our body. So this is all these are related to each other. So energy picture, metabolism, and cholesterol biosynthesis and excretion of bile salts, all these are connected to each other. So that's why we have to see first the big picture. Now let's see the fatty acid biosynthesis, how it is done. Fatty acid degradation, as I told you in the beginning of the lecture, has some relation to fatty acid biosynthesis. Okay, so in fatty acid degradation, how many steps are there? 4 steps are there. So one is activation, then the oxidation. In oxidation we are losing one mole of hydrogen, so that a double bond is coming. Then it will be hydrated, thereby OH group is coming, then it will be oxidized to ketone, and then thiolase enzyme will be breaking it up. Okay, so if you look in the reverse order, you will get almost fatty acid biosynthesis. Okay, so where we have activated acyl group is there, here also activated acyl group means it is the chain of fatty acid, and this is the acetyl coenzyme A that has been separated. And here instead of acetyl coenzyme A, we will have an activated precursor for acetyl coenzyme A, equivalent of acetyl coenzyme A. So that is activated malonyl group will be there, and this acyl group will be transferred onto this carbon, so thereby carbon dioxide will leave, and then that will give you the beta keto carboxylic acid, that will be reduced to beta hydroxy carboxylic acid, then that will be dehydrated to obtain alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl system, and then that will be reduced to fatty acid. So except in the initial phase, except you say using activated malonyl group, all the remaining compounds looks the same. And another difference between these two pathways is beta oxidation of fatty acid degradation happens in mitochondria, okay, but fatty acid biosynthesis happens in cytosol, okay. So fatty acid degradation, because oxidative degradation of fatty acid, so it happens inside mitochondrial matrix, whereas fatty acid biosynthesis happens in the cytosol. Okay, so now let's see how actually each step in fatty acid biosynthesis happens. In fatty acid biosynthesis, again we can see three major stages. One is transfer of acetyl coenzyme A from mitochondria to cytosol. Okay. As I told you, acetyl coenzyme A is the precursor, okay, in the form of malonyl coenzyme A. Yes, malonyl coenzyme A is actually what we have seen over there, but actually fatty acid biosynthesis starts from acetyl coenzyme A. So how actually, because acetyl coenzyme A you will not get it in the cytosol actually, because in glycolysis you will be getting pyruvic acid. Pyruvic acid will be converted to acetyl coenzyme A. So that acetyl coenzyme A is there in your mitochondria, not in the cytosol. So it has to be shifted to cytosol. So from mitochondria to cytosol, how it is shifted? This is one major step. Then that acetyl coenzyme A has to be activated, because acetyl coenzyme A as such it is not useful for fatty acid biosynthesis. So it has to be activated to malonyl coenzyme A. So that will enter into the 5-step elongation step of fatty acid via ACP intermediate. ACP means acetyl carrier proteins. So these are the 3 steps that we have. Now let's see each step and how it helps in the fatty acid biosynthesis. So in the first, the outline of fatty acid biosynthesis is this one. Acetyl coenzyme A reacts with acetyl CoA carboxylase enzyme. In the presence of acetyl CoA carboxylase enzyme, it takes up a bicarb in the, let's say, carbon dioxide, and by spending one ATP to AMP, okay, how much energy you are going to get here? 41 kilojoules per mole, okay. This much energy you are going to get over here, so that will be utilized in the biosynthesis of malonyl coenzyme A. Okay, this happens because acetyl coenzyme A is obtained from mitochondria. Acetyl coenzyme in cytosol, it will react with malonyl coenzyme, this one acetyl CoA carboxylase is going to give you malonyl CoA. Then that malonyl CoA reacts with acyl carrier protein, okay. So here the malonyl coenzyme will be transferred onto acyl carrier protein, so thereby malonyl acetyl carrier protein will be biosynthesized. So acyl carrier protein is like a platform which offers stable ground for holding on to malonyl CoA, so that growing chain can be attached to this particular protein throughout the biosynthesis of fatty acid. Then, so this malonyl CoA is now the reagent, is like a reagent. So it will react with acyl carrier protein. Okay, so here the logic is like this. Fatty acids are like very long chains. Okay, it will be like this, a very big chains. So that's why for the biosynthesis, the design is like you start with 2 carbon units and then add 2 more carbons, add 2 more carbons, add 2 more carbons. It is like growing. Okay, so that's the reason why the nature has designed it in such a manner that you have a protein complex, we call it as acyl carrier protein. It has 2 hands. Okay, one is a growing hand. So here both are let's say, so this is the growing chain of the fatty acid, and to the second hand you will see you will have malonyl coenzyme A. Okay, so on one hand we have malonyl coenzyme A, on the other hand we have acyl carrier, growing chain of the fatty acid. Now this will be shifted to this, so thereby what you are going to have is this one, S and double bond O, R. Okay, and then it will undergo all chemical changes, like the double bond O will be reduced to hydroxy, and then it will be dehydrated, this bond will be dehydrated, and then it will be reduced so that you will have the fatty chain over here. Then you ultimately have this one, double bond O, 1 2 3. Okay, then here you have SH. In the second step what will happen, this will be shifted to this. Okay, S double bond O, 1 2 R, so that this SH is free. Okay, now this SH will receive one more malonyl coenzyme A, so that this will go to the first step. So this is the way, this is the simple logic that we have behind fatty acid biosynthesis. Okay, so here what is it that we have is acyl carrier protein, which is going to offer a platform to hold on to fatty acid growing chain as well as the reactant. So thereby this will take the reactants to every enzyme that is involved in fatty acid biosynthesis. Here fatty acid biosynthesis is done by a system, we call it as fatty acid synthase system 1. So here all the enzymes are existing as a single complex like this. Okay, so that the acyl carrier protein will go from one enzyme to another enzyme, so thereby it will finish all the chemical reactions in a sequence. Okay friends, this is the way how actually the design of experiment is there inside our fatty acid biosynthesis. So here the acyl growing chain of fatty acid reacts with malonyl coenzyme A over here in the presence of beta ketoacyl ACP synthase. So here what is it that we are getting is beta keto carboxylic acid. So this double bond O will be reduced by beta ketoacyl ACP reductase. So this one uses NADPH. Okay, so this NADPH, as we have seen in case of gluconeogenesis and pentophosphate, NADPH is the chemical that we need for fatty acid biosynthesis, not NADH. Okay, so this NADPH is utilized. Beta ketoacyl ACP reductase is going to give you beta hydroxy acyl ACP. Okay, and then the beta ketoacyl ACP dehydratase enzyme removes water molecules, thereby we get a double bond over here. This double bond is actually a trans double bond. Trans to enoyl ACP is biosynthesized. Then this will be hydrogenated with the help of again NADPH only. Trans 2-enoyl ACP reductase enzyme. It is going to provide us the growing chain of fatty acid. So this chain will go on and on and on till the fatty acid reaches appropriate length. Usually in our body the fatty acid chain reaches C16 means we are designed in such a manner that we get palmitic acid in our body. Okay, and this palmitic acid will be utilized for biosynthesis of other fatty acids by using special enzyme systems for elongation as well as for incorporation of unsaturation. Now let's see one by one. Transport of acetyl coenzyme A from mitochondria to cytoplasm. So this mechanism is you can also see in other biosynthetic pathways also. So here the acetyl coenzyme A that is there inside our mitochondria over here is shunted outside in the form of citric acid. Okay, pyruvate that is there in our mitochondria, which was obtained from glycolysis. This pyruvate will be converted to oxaloacetate by using pyruvate carboxylase. So this is the enzyme, a very unique enzyme which makes use of pyruvic acid, so that upon carboxylation it will give you oxaloacetate. So this oxaloacetate will go into citric acid cycle, so that citrate will be synthesized. So this citrate will be shunted outside, okay, because we have inner membrane, outer membrane, so both will be crossed, so that citrate will be shunted outside. So once it is outside, the citrate will go through a mechanism, we call it as ATP citrate lyase, will break it down, so that oxaloacetate is again biosynthesized. So this gives us the acetyl coenzyme A that is needed. Okay, so in this way acetyl coenzyme A that is there inside mitochondria is released into the cytosol. And then oxaloacetate that we got over here will be converted to malate. This malate will be converted to pyruvate. Pyruvate will enter into mitochondria again. Okay, so this malate can be utilized for gluconeogenesis. Okay, so in that pathway malate you can see. Okay, this is the shunt which is used for obtaining highly reactive chemicals out of mitochondria. Okay, citrate pyruvate shunt. So here the source of NADPH, because in the fatty acid biosynthesis for every round we make use of 2 NADPH. Okay, so for the synthesis of palmitic acid, because C16 means 8 acetyl coenzymes are supposed to be fused to each other, so 7 rounds will be there, means 14 NADPH molecules are needed for biosynthesis of fatty acid. That's a huge number. So how can we get it? In the carbohydrate metabolism, we have seen a pathway, we call it as pentose phosphate pathway. In pentose phosphate pathway, we get ribulose 5-phosphate and then several other 5-membered, 4-membered, 3-membered and 6-membered carbohydrates are biosynthesized. But in that pathway, we get so many NADPH molecules. So all these NADPH molecules largely help in biosynthesis of fatty acids. So this is the way how our fatty acid biosynthesis is fueled. Formation of malonyl coenzyme A, the first committed step. So here the regulatory enzyme, that is acetyl CoA carboxylase, is the enzyme which actually this is the step which we consider as committed step. So here what happens is acetyl coenzyme A carboxylase molecule transfers one carbon dioxide in the form of carbonic acid, so that will be transferred onto acetyl coenzyme A, so that malonyl coenzyme A is obtained. So here the enzyme contains biotin as the coenzyme or cofactor, so that helps in the transport of carbon dioxide unit, carboxyl unit onto acetyl coenzyme A. This is a very important enzyme, and this is the step we consider as committed step. Means once an acetyl coenzyme A receives carbon dioxide, and if it becomes malonyl coenzyme A, it will end up in the growing chain of a fatty acid. So that is what I mean by committed step. Then loading stage of fatty acids, okay, because now we have malonyl CoA. Now what we have to do, it has to go and react with an acetyl carrier protein, ACP. So this is the way. So the malonyl coenzyme A that we have will react with an acetyl carrier protein which contains a thiol group like coenzyme A. Okay, the thiol group is there over here. So that to that it will be attached. Okay, so the thioester linkage is there. The coenzyme A thioester linkage is simply replaced by ACP thioester linkage. It is like almost like cross esterification. Okay, this is a high energy compound. So this can be utilized for the inbuilt energy can be utilized for smooth running of fatty acid biosynthesis. Next one is elongation of fatty acid. So we call it this stage as elongation stage of fatty acid biosynthesis. So here what is happening, the keto-acyl ACP, because malonyl coenzyme A, malonyl ACP, whatever we have over here, it reacts with acyl ACP carrier protein. Okay, this is what I told you. Okay, the two hands that we have, in one hand we have growing chain, in the other hand we have the reacting malonyl CoA. So this is going to react with malonyl ACP, and in this process the carbon dioxide is eliminated, because if you see this carbon is flanked by two carbonyl carbons. So that's why this carbon will become highly reactive, and alpha keto carboxylic acids are highly unstable. So this alpha keto carboxylic acids are highly unstable, and decarbonylation is pretty easy. This is in a high energy situation. So that actually helps us in its high reactivity. And then the alpha keto beta keto acyl ACP is biosynthesized. From here, this is a routine chemical reactions, means the first step is reducing the ketone group so that secondary alcohol is obtained. Then we have dehydration reaction to obtain alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl system, and then reduce it so that we get the acyl ACP. Okay, so this is it. Now if you further need extension, then you go again and react with malonyl ACP, then the entire entire cycle will be initiated. Okay, so once a malonyl ACP is biosynthesized, the next step is imminent. Okay, compulsory. So friends, this is the way how fatty acid biosynthesis is happening inside our body. The first stage is obtaining acetyl coenzyme A out of the mitochondria. Second one is activating this acetyl coenzyme A. We all knew that acetyl coenzyme A itself is highly reactive, but it is further activated by adding one more carbon dioxide unit, so that alpha keto carboxylic acid is synthesized, that is highly reactive, and that will actually initiate elongation process. So once acetyl CoA is converted to malonyl CoA, it is the committed step. So you cannot look back. It has to be introduced into one or the other fatty acid, so that you will get fatty acid elongation step is initiated and concluded. Okay, so that is it. So this is altogether the total total steps that are there in the fatty acid biosynthesis. One is acetyl ACP. Let's say if this is the initial stage, then it reacts with malonyl ACP, so that beta keto acyl acetoacetyl ACP is biosynthesized. So that is reduced by beta keto acyl reductase. So in this reduction we are using one NADPH, and then that is giving us a hydroxy derivative, and then the 3-hydroxybutyryl ACP is dehydrated to obtain crotonyl ACP. So here in this dehydration step, 3-hydroxyacyl dehydratase is the enzyme. and then upon reduction with NADPH again we are getting the butyryl ACP. The enzyme we have over here is enoyl reductase. So butyryl ACP is biosynthesized in this way. Let's say if butyryl ACP is the input for the pathway, then what happens? That will react with malonyl ACP, then hexanoyl. So here instead of acetoacetyl, butyroacetyl ACP will be obtained. Okay, so in that way 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 you have to keep on adding it. Then next one is, as I told you, we can biosynthesize in our system only up to C16 by using FAS1 system. Fatty acid synthase 1 system can biosynthesize up to C16. But in our body, modified fatty acids will be there with different lengths, as well as unsaturations will also be there. So that's the reason why fatty acid has to go to other biosynthetic pathways for modifications. For that we needed fatty acid activation. So fatty acids that are biosynthesized and released into the system, they have to get activated by reacting with coenzyme A. So here for fatty acid activation all the time we have to consume ATP, so thereby fatty acyl coenzyme A is biosynthesized. So this fatty acyl coenzyme A will be the input for further modifications. Okay, so fatty acid biosynthesis with the FAS1 is entirely different, and the remaining modifications or otherwise functionalization of fatty acids, the systems are individualistic. Okay, FAS1 is a complex. Okay, so many proteins, they come together, they work in coordination with each other. Now let's see elongation and desaturation, because as I told you till now we have seen up to only C16. Let's say you wanted to increase its length, then what to do? You have to elongate it. Let's say you wanted to add one double bond, then you have to remove hydrogen. Desaturation is to be done. So how these two things can be achieved? Elongation occurs with enzymes on the cytosolic phase of endoplasmic reticulum, that is the site of action. And elongases are enzymes which uses malonyl coenzyme A to add 2 carbon units. Like in case of FAS1, fatty acid synthase 1, the first step is addition of malonyl coenzyme A. So here also we use malonyl coenzyme A only. So let's say if you take the fatty acid, and then if you wanted to introduce a double bond, desaturase is the enzyme which makes use of NADH to remove hydrogen. So removal of hydrogen happens in this way. It also makes use of oxygen as electron sink so that it can oxidize it in this way. And if you want another double bond, you can go further. But in true sense, we don't have the capability to introduce more double bonds. So that's the reason why. So here this is oleic acid, the first one, this is oleic acid. Oleic acid can be oleic acid coenzyme A. So linoleic acid, this is linoleic acid, linolenic acid. Okay, so this cannot be synthesized by mammals, so that's the reason why we have to get it from food. Or these type of fatty acids, we call them as essential fatty acids. We get them from food. Okay, so once you get them from food, what is the use of those multiple double bonds containing fatty acids? So these fatty acids can further get desaturated, means further double bonds are introduced, so that you get linolenic acid, and then we can add more carbons, like in case of elongase, so that 20 carbon unit containing fatty acids, dodeca trienoyl coenzyme A. Okay, dodeca trienoic acid up to this one, coenzyme A, is biosynthesized, and this upon addition of one more double bond, okay, what we are getting over here is arachidonic acid. So in this way, elongases and desaturases help us convert oleic acid to linoleic acid, or otherwise linolenic acid that we got it from food to arachidonic acid. So both are possible. And what is the use of these functionalized fatty acids? Like in this case, arachidonic acid is a very important fatty acid because it is a part of the phospholipid bilayer membrane. So as and when cell gets damaged or otherwise any inflammatory signal, if it is there, then phospholipase enzyme that will be there near the it is membrane bound protein only. It will convert the fatty acids, it will hydrolyze the phospholipids so that it releases arachidonic acid. Nearby this phospholipase enzyme, you will have arachidonic acid. So many arachidonic acids will be there. So once it gets signals like inflammatory signals, pro-inflammatory signals are received, then immediately it will hydrolyze these phospholipids so that arachidonic acid is released. Once the arachidonic acid is released, that will be converted by lipoxygenases into leukotrienes or prostaglandin synthesis mechanism. Okay, cyclooxygenase mechanism is there. With that, it can be converted to prostaglandins, thromboxanes, prostacyclins, etc. Okay, so all these are a very important cell signaling molecules. Cell signaling molecules, or we can also call them as cytokines, which help in the recognition of in the cellular repair process. Okay, because these chemicals help as cytokines means which guide the cells to move from place to place, so that the protecting cells like white blood cells, etc., they can recognize the site of inflammation and invade that area to clear off infection or cell debris that is over there. So in this way, arachidonic acid play a very important role in the immune reactions as well as inflammatory reactions. So that's the reason why polyunsaturated fatty acids or essential fatty acids, they play a critical role in the maintenance of our health. So friends, the fatty acid biosynthesis is a tightly regulated process. Okay, how it is done? As I told you in the beginning of the lecture, acetyl coenzyme A carboxylase is the deciding factor. Okay, so this is the enzyme which picks up acetyl coenzyme A that has been released, that has been shifted from mitochondria to cytosol. It will pick it up and then it will convert acetyl coenzyme A to malonyl coenzyme A. So that is the committed step. Committed means what? It has to be incorporated into fatty acid biosynthesis. There is no other way. So that's the reason why it is controlled. There are two mechanisms are there. One is AMP activated protein kinase. So cyclic AMP controlled protein kinase activates mechanisms to convert active carboxylase to inactive carboxylase, whereas we have one protein phosphatase 2A. So this hydrolyzes, because here this is a kinase which will phosphorylate this carboxylase enzyme. So thereby this phosphate has to be removed to activate it. So this is a phosphatase enzyme which breaks up this phosphate and activate carboxylase. So this is the way how it is controlled. So what are the various chemicals which actually tune protein phosphatase and cyclic AMP activated protein kinase is very important. So insulin, what are the jobs of insulin? So we know insulin as it increases glucose uptake. This is one mechanism by skeletal muscle and liver. Okay, what are the other things that are catalyzed by insulin? Because insulin helps store energy. Fatty acid biosynthesis is actually an efficient method to store energy. Hence, insulin enhances fatty acid biosynthesis, accelerates fatty acid biosynthesis. How it is done? Insulin activates protein phosphatase activity, thereby the carboxylase, acetyl-CoA carboxylase will become active. Okay. And in the opposite side, we have glucagon and epinephrine, which will activate AMP activated protein kinase. So thereby this carboxylase gets deactivated. Carboxylase gets deactivated. So thereby it will enhance availability of acetyl-CoA for energy production. Insulin will reduce acetyl-CoA availability, so thereby energy stored. Okay, so friends, this is the way how fatty acid biosynthesis is regulated. So I hope all of you understood the concept of fatty acid biosynthesis, its relation to fatty acid metabolism, and why it is the critical differences between fatty acid biosynthesis and fatty acid metabolism. In case of fatty acid metabolism, oxidative degradation is happening, so that's the reason why it has to happen within mitochondria. Whereas this anabolic reaction, that is fatty acid biosynthesis, happens outside mitochondria. So acetyl-CoA has to be shifted from mitochondria to cytosol through citrate pyruvate shunt. Okay, so once it is outside, the acetyl-CoA will be activated to malonyl-CoA. Malonyl-CoA will be incorporated into fatty acid elongation step. Uniqueness over here is acetyl carrier protein, which will offer a platform for holding on to both growing chain of fatty acid as well as the reacting malonyl coenzyme A. Okay, once it reaches, because after going through the 5 steps, beta ketocarboxylate, after reduction beta hydroxycarboxylate, then alpha beta unsaturated carbonyl carbon, then upon reduction you get the fatty acid, growing chain of fatty acid. Okay, so that will be repeated. The step will repeat and repeat and repeat till it reaches C16. Okay, palmitic acid. Then if you need further functionalization, that can be converted to either unsaturated fatty acid, or otherwise you can increase the chain length as per the needs of the body. Okay, so it is regulated by our hormones like glucagon, epinephrine and insulin, as we have I have shown you here. Okay friends, so this is all about fatty acid biosynthesis. I hope all of you understood the concept, and if you have any doubts, please let me know through comment section, or you may even email me. I thank all of you for your patient listening and your time. I'll take leave now. I'll see you again with another very interesting lecture soon. Okay, I request you to please share this video with your friends so that they can get benefited out of it. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you get notifications as and when I upload a new video. Thank you all. See you.